Hey Dragon Slayers, today's video is asking the question, why do we get sick? So I've spent the last 70 plus videos exploring Dr. Ted Naiman's book, The PE Diet, in explicit detail. I figured it would be just as important and eye-opening to share Dr. Benjamin Beekman's book, Why We Get Sick. In this book, Dr. Bikman unpacks the root cause of modern disease and provides a concise roadmap to help you regain and maintain your health. This book is word heavy and contains almost zero pictures or diagrams. So I won't be doing as deep of a literal representation of it like I did with the PE diet because that would take far too long. Instead, I will be sharing some of my favorite excerpts and findings and doing a lot of summarizing. Today, we'll be looking at the foreword, which is written by Dr. Jason Fung. So, the opening talks about how medical science, having advanced considerably since the 1900s, when the top three killers were lung infections like pneumonia and influenza, tuberculosis, and gastrointestinal infections. So if you had asked the question in the 1900s, why do we get sick? The overwhelmingly obvious answer would be infectious disease. But this is no longer true. With all the massive improvements in sanitation, personal hygiene, antibiotics, and antiviral infections don't kill nearly as many people today as they did in the past. Today, five of the top seven causes of death are heart disease, cancer, cerebrovascular disease, Alzheimer's, and diabetes, all of which are related to chronic metabolic diseases and over the past decade have steadily increased. But why? It all comes down to one root cause: insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia, which means too much insulin in the blood. Dr. Jason Fung is a nephrologist who specializes in kidney disease, and the number one cause of kidney disease is type 2 diabetes. In the last 30 years, the number of people diagnosed with type 2 diabetes has quadrupled. And people with type 2 diabetes also have an increased risk of heart disease, stroke, cancer, blindness, nerve damage, amputation, and chronic infections. People usually only get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when their blood glucose levels are way out of control. But we know now that excess body weight and increased resistance to insulin are present long before the official diagnosis is made. We need to look at insulin resistance, which is a precursor to type 2 diabetes and is implicated in many other conditions as well. In Why We Get Sick, insulin is identified as what leads us to develop chronic disease. The scope is enormous. Insulin emerges as the key player in many of the diseases that unfortunately are becoming remarkably common, from migraine headaches to fatty liver disease, high blood pressure, and dementia. It is estimated that 85% of American adults may be insulin resistant, and other countries are at the same levels or worse. But all hope is not lost. There are simple, science based approaches to reverse the condition or prevent it from developing in the first place. And none of these approaches involve taking more medications, having more surgery, or receiving more medical implants. Instead, the solution lies in our diets and lifestyles. Your diet and lifestyle choices can be the culprit or the cure. We must recognize that the key to good health is already in your hands. So I am really excited. If you've been a long subscriber of the channel, you know that Dr. Benjamin Beekman is basically my hero. This man has dedicated his entire life to studying and reversing insulin resistance. And I'm very excited to share his book with you. And I hope that you guys get as much from it as I have. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Stay tuned, and we're going to go over this in more detail and find out why we get sick. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, together you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.